Chapter 22:11, Fang Yuan becomes venerable. Chapter 22:11, Fang Yuan becomes venerable. Rumble. Fang Yuan's killer move shot out, forcing Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable to retreat. What in the world is going on? Since when did Fang Yuan become a venerable? Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia watched as Fang Yuan fought the two venerables. They had complex emotions and asked Qi Ancestor urgently. Qi Ancestor was also confused. He smiled bitterly. I had no clue either. Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia were speechless. Fang Yuan had hid this so deeply that he even deceived his own clone. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable remained silent, because they found that Fang Yuan's strength had vaguely surpassed either of them. He was still a rank 8 pseudo-venerable earlier. How did he turn into a genuine rank 9 so suddenly? The two venerables were very confused and suspicious. Strange, very strange. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable attacked fiercely. Golden light rained down with imposing might. Fang Yuan responded with a shout. His prepared method was activated, forcefully suppressing the overwhelming golden light. The Tao marks on his body far surpassed Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Seeing this, Lu Wei-yin and the rest felt their hearts jumping. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable took in a deep breath of cold air secretly. He focused his eyes and activated a method. At the next moment, his vision changed. He started to observe the luck above Fang Yuan's head. Initially, Fang Yuan's luck was completely hidden. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could only see cooking luck pot. But soon, after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable intensified the force of this move and golden blood flowed out of his eyes, he finally got through cooking luck pot's defense and saw Fang Yuan's true luck. He saw a silver pillar of light that connected heaven and earth. It was grand and condensed. At the base of the silvery pillar, there was a brown grave. It had mostly dissipated now, only a small part was left. Seeing this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a thought. He sighed to himself, this is Paradise Earth's luck. On one hand, it can stabilize the foundation of the silver light pillar, but on the other hand, it is also digging away and replacing Fang Yuan's foundation. It was the biggest threat to Fang Yuan's luck initially. Now that he killed Paradise Earth, this threat has been removed. This remaining part of the grave is the foundation of Paradise Earth that Fang Yuan has yet to devour completely. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable raised his head again, looking at the top of the silver light pillar. Earlier when they joined forces, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had observed Fang Yuan's luck. Compared to then, Fang Yuan's silver light pillar was no longer blocked by 3 clouds at the top. It shot right through them, truly looking like it was holding up the heavens and supporting the earth. The 3 clouds could only revolve around the top part of the silver pillar. This meant that the 3 venerables could no longer hold Fang Yuan down. Among the 3 clouds, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's cloud had turned into a golden blood-colored cloud. It was at the top. Star Constellation Immortal Venerables and Spectral Soul Demon Venerables clouds were below his. They seemed to have the trend of tearing apart. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was moved again. Is this hinting that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable is quickly breaking free from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's control? Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was not surprised. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was someone on the same level as Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. It was already an incredibly shocking achievement that she could control him. But it was unrealistic to try fully controlling a venerable. If Spectral Soul Demon Venerable escapes from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's control later, what will happen? No matter what, in terms of luck alone, Fang Yuan has truly become a venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable believed in his own luck path methods. He was finally convinced at this moment. At this time, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable looked towards Fang Yuan with some rage in his eyes. How did Fang Yuan become a venerable in the blink of an eye? Looking at his expression and attitude, it seemed like he held indifference towards rank 9 cultivation level. What did he take this venerable status as? If rank 9 venerables could appear so easily, then what would Giant Sun Immortal Venerable amount to? What would the past venerables amount to? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was also considering rapidly. Fang Yuan has rank 9 cultivation level indeed. I underestimated his craftiness and shrewdness. When did he become a venerable? Did he have this cultivation level from the start? All the signs do not point to that possibility. He had secretly become a venerable during a certain moment in the crazed demon cave battle. But, he clearly lacked attainment level. In the contest in Primordial Domain, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable ganged up on Fang Yuan and destroyed the refinement path portion of the Primordial Domain. Wait! Giant Sun Immortal Venerable suddenly turned his head, retreating as he looked at Fang Yuan, asking, "Did the thieving heaven true inheritance contain refinement path true meaning? So you had the necessary refinement path attainment level long ago." Fang Yuan smiled, but his attacks became even fiercer. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was sent flying by consecutive attacks. Using this timing, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable shot out countless flying stars that flew like lightning, landing on Fang Yuan's back one after another. Fang Yuan staggered from the hit, he almost lost his balance and fell forward. But immediately after, he straightened his back and wiped it with his hand. Starlight specks were shining intensely on his back. They were the Tao marks left behind by the flying stars. But after Fang Yuan wiped them, all of these Tao marks were refined into his own. The power of rank 9 refinement path. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's heart jumped. It was terrible to her that Fang Yuan had such a method. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's combat system did not excel in powerful individual offensive methods, she mainly relied on consecutive hits. And the key to these consecutive hits were the Tao marks that the flying stars left behind. With these Tao marks, the following flying stars would be able to deal increasingly greater damage to the enemy. But Fang Yuan refined these Tao marks into his own, the flying star consecutive move was easily broken. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable continued to use this move, she would not be fighting Fang Yuan but funding him instead. Fang Yuan easily got rid of the flying star consecutive move and launched his own counterattack. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable could not deal with him head-on, she had to temporarily retreat. He is very proficient with this refinement path killer move, it shows that Fang Yuan came prepared. But he held back the entire time, waiting for the final moment of this crazed demon cave fight and after he became rank 9 to utilize this trump card. At this moment, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable finally understood the true extent of Fang Yuan's craftiness. The killer move was prepared long ago, otherwise, it could not be used so quickly after Fang Yuan became rank 9. If he used it earlier, the effect would be great too, but he refused to activate it, causing Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to assume that he was helpless against the flying star killer move. At the final battle, he used it and caught Star Constellation Immortal Venerable off guard immediately. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable suddenly had a flash of inspiration, she realized a portion of the truth at this moment as she spoke. "Fang Yuan, well done, you purposely did that during the Primordial Domain contest. You purposely held back and gave up on competing for Primordial Domain, thus Giant Sun and I destroyed the refinement path part of the Primordial Domain. You were purposely pretending to be weak so that we would look down on and put less attention on you." Hearing these words, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's heart lit up, he could not help but feel more anger towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan remained smiling as he said plainly, "Star Constellation, you are thinking too highly of me." Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled coldly, "Fang Yuan, don't think of deceiving us anymore. Regardless of whether thieving heaven's true inheritance had refinement path true meaning, before you entered Primordial Domain, you were already extremely close to Supreme Grandmaster attainment level. After entering Primordial Domain, you realized that even if you gave up a portion of the refinement path Primordial Domain, you could still become a refinement path Supreme Grandmaster by yourself. Thus, you purposely held back and let Giant Sun and I seemingly ruin your chances of becoming a venerable. There were many benefits in this. Firstly, becoming a venerable would mean breaking through the heavenly Tao blockade, you would need to undergo tribulation and it carries many risks, you have to find the right timing to do so. Once you become a Supreme Grandmaster openly, we would be on guard against you. Secondly, even if you became a venerable quickly, before the three worlds united, limitless eternal life result was still far away from us, everyone needed to wait. Furthermore, because of limitless retaliation, even if you became a venerable, you could not use your strength. Thirdly, if you were not a venerable, we would subconsciously ignore you. In our minds, even if Paradise Earth was just a pseudo-venerable, he was still more threatening than you. Finally, everyone was holding back during the crazed demon cave battle. A lot of trump cards were not revealed. For example, you did not know how much I had infiltrated the crazed demon formation. Thus, you concealed your methods and waited for the situation to become clearer, after we went through our methods, before trying to claim victory. While defending against Fang Yuan's attacks, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable analyzed and exposed Fang Yuan's schemes to everyone. Be they Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, they did not want a third venerable contesting with them. Paradise Earth was the best example. He was trying to become a venerable under the attention of the two venerables. In the end, he got heavily injured because of them. As Giant Sun Immortal Venerable listened to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's explanation, his mind became increasingly clear. With a loud howling sound, he stepped on a giant golden aurora and charged at Fang Yuan. At the same time, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable also pincer attacked Fang Yuan from another direction. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:12, Refine Gu, Refine Human, and Refine Heaven. Chapter 22:12, Refine Gu, Refine Human, and Refine Heaven. Seeing the fierce attacks of the enemies, Fang Yuan quickly dodged for the time being. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable pursued relentlessly as he shouted, "Back then, when I fought my way into the door of life and death, I wanted to probe Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's trump card and learn of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's current condition. But you also went inside. It was truly a great scheme. If you remained in the outside world, you would need to deal with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, who went out. But if you followed me, you would be able to see the strength of Heavenly Court and my longevity heaven." At that time, because of Heavenly Court's arrangements, the door of life and death was tightly connected to the immortal graveyard. It could not be destroyed forcefully in a short period of time. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable secretly inspected their lucks. After learning of this peculiar change in Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's lucks, he wanted to find out the reason. If possible, he wanted to ruin this intimate relationship between them. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable knew that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had hidden cards too, but he went inside the door of life and death regardless. Because he had his own trump cards. When he used the blood path method to revive, no matter how severe his injuries got, he would be fully healed. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had been trying to make the best use of this trump card. He tried all ways possible to probe more of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's methods. From Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's perspective, this was the first time he was fighting against a venerable. Venerables had immense foundation. He needed to probe carefully. To destroy the immortal graveyard, he had to target the door of life and death. By going inside, he could inspect if there was really a relationship between Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. If possible, he would destroy that connection and save Spectral Soul Demon Venerable before working together. Or if possible, he could even try to take the door of life and death for himself. With all these intentions, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable managed to find out Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's method involving emotions on this trip. When Star Constellation Immortal Venerable left the door of life and death, did Giant Sun Immortal Venerable really not have any way of stopping her? That was not the case. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was happy to see Star Constellation Immortal Venerable leave. Firstly, the eternal life result still needed some time to nurture. He had already left behind his investigative method in the crazed demon formation, that was luck suppression Heavenly Palace. Secondly, 3 parties were contesting in crazed demon cave then, other than Green Lotus Great World's Heavenly Court, and Savage Wilderness Great World's Longevity Heaven, there was also Yellow Earth Great World's Paradise Earth. In the end, through this contest, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable forced Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable to revive prematurely, causing him to only have pseudo-venerable cultivation level. When Paradise Earth went into the door of life and death, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not use his biggest trump card before leaving. Even though he did not save Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he managed to ally with Paradise Earth. Boom! As Fong Yuan retaliated, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's killer move was broken, he was forced back again. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable yelled, "Fong Yuan, I am sure you wanted to see Paradise Earth's premature resurrection as well. Such great acting, truly great acting skills. After leaving the door of life and death, I was hit by Qin Ding Ling's method and fell into a disadvantage. I needed you to take action but you were trapped by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. That was your intentional excuse. You purposely made the Qi Si clone activate Hu elevation, that way, the Qi Si clone would be restrained again, while Zhan Budu was unable to get away. You managed to watch openly as our two sides fought and expended each other's strength." Giant Sun Immortal Venerable said while gritting his teeth. Back then, he still had an immortal zombie body, he was suppressed by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and schemed against by Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, his combat system's foundation was uprooted. Even though the situation was dangerous, Giant Sun was not flustered. Because he still had the greatest trump card unused. Giant Sun held back and waited because he wanted to see the trump cards of these other people. In the end, Paradise Earth made his move. Paradise Earth did not attack Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, instead, he tried to help Giant Sun. After failing, he immediately saved Fong Yuan. This showed that Paradise Earth's intentions were not simple either. However, after Fong Yuan was saved, he still refused to help out Giant Sun, instead, he went to kill the unimportant Qin Ding Ling. This way, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had no choice but to use his Blood Path trump card, reviving completely. Fong Yuan succeeded in killing Qin Ding Ling, but how could he deceive Giant Sun Immortal Venerable with such superficial actions? Giant Sun was very clear of it in his heart, since he exposed his true strength, he immediately changed his position and joined up with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to deal with Fong Yuan. Because of this, Fong Yuan was attacked by two Venerables, he had to expend Reverse Flow River, but still got hit in the end, his immortal aperture suffered calamities and tribulations. Wait! Thinking of this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable realized and called out, during that time, you used the opportunity of your immortal aperture getting hit to obscure the aura and used the chance to break through the heavenly Dao blockade, by stacking tribulation with tribulation, you deceived everyone and got past the final tribulation, becoming a Venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable finally understood everything. Back then, he thought that he had succeeded when he inspected Fong Yuan's falling luck and the aura of calamities and tribulations in his aperture. But to think that Fong Yuan was making use of this to secretly tackle the heavenly Dao blockade and break through an even stronger tribulation. With just Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's method, he could definitely not create black fire in Fong Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. The black fire was the remnant product of the chaotic disaster. Fong Yuan did not speak, he attacked fiercely, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable resisted with difficulty. He stared at Fong Yuan and continued to speak, through that method, you became a Venerable without anyone noticing. I originally thought that you were not skilled in aura concealment methods, but to think that your attainment in this aspect is shocking, you have been concealing your aura the entire time. You actually deceived me, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, and wait, even Paradise Earth was deceived. Fong Yuan was the greatest liar, he lied until the very end. All of these Venerables were toyed around by him. Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia looked at each other, feeling the shock in each other's hearts. The fight between the Venerables was getting more intense, they started using their full strength, causing the rest to be pushed away to the boundaries of the void, along with the Qi Si clone. Looking at Fong Yuan who was holding the upper hand, Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia had complex emotions. On one hand, they were shocked and in admiration that Fong Yuan broke through successfully to become a Venerable, he was even suppressing two noble existences who were famous in history. But on the other hand, Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia were furious. They had a close connection to Paradise Earth, while a large part of his death was attributed to Fong Yuan's scheme. In the end, Paradise Earth had no choice but to expose his great secret, he could absorb truthful floating ice to raise his cultivation level. Fang Yuan purposely made a transaction with Paradise Earth and shouted so loudly, triggering the two venerables to use their full strength on him. In the end, the attacks of the two venerables helped out Fang Yuan. He managed to kill Paradise Earth. Crafty, scheming, evil. Such words revolved around the hearts of Lu Wei-yin and Xianxia. They could not help but describe Fang Yuan as such. Rumble. As the golden light faded and starlight dimmed, Fang Yuan was incredibly domineering. His aura was surging like a rising tiger over 10,000 li. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were feeling bitter internally. After so long, they had already expended many of their trump cards in combat. Their injuries were still lingering, there was simply no time to heal them. In contrast, Fang Yuan had been staying low profile and hiding his strength. His schemes were simply too deep. Boom! The three venerables clashed again. Fang Yuan held the upper hand once more. The two venerables were forced back, they spat out blood together, their injuries becoming more severe. Fang Yuan wore a snow-white robe, his hair was long and fluttering, he dominated the battlefield, with his aura surmounting mountains and rivers. He firmly grasped the upper hand as he suddenly recited. In my youth I knew the hardships of the world. Yet I still aspired to soar above the clouds. A journey of cold winds and uncertainty, a lone traveler experiences a life of ups and downs. A heart of steel forged from countless setbacks, a lifetime of effort to forge one sword. Today my sword aims beyond the clouds. Refine Gu. Refine human. Refine heaven. Fang Yuan's attacks were like a surging tide, enveloping all the surrounding battlefield, approaching from all directions of the world. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable could not resist them, they retreated time and time again. Fang Yuan grabbed with his hand, the final truthful floating ice went towards him. Don't think about it. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly, she had to toss out the door of life and death at the final crucial moment. The door of life and death erupted with an immense suction force, while Giant Sun Immortal Venerable attacked at the same time, his killer move landing on Fang Yuan. In order to take the truthful floating ice, Fang Yuan exposed a weakness and was sent into the door of life and death by the two venerables. Our tactic succeeded. The two venerables looked at each other, having expressions of joy flashing at the same time. But at the next moment, Dang Hun Mountain, Luo Pa Valley, and Reverse Flow River. A killer move with all three secluded domains of heaven and earth as the cores was activated by Fang Yuan. A road of life was suddenly formed, extending out of the door of life and death. Fang Yuan instantly returned to the battlefield, leaving Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who was extremely furious and agitated behind in the door of life and death. The two venerables stared with wide eyes. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's eyelids were twitching intensely, this was the move that he wanted Fang Yuan to conceptualize when he was trapped in the door of life and death. Fang Yuan kept delaying it and showed an expression of helplessness, eventually failing in his deduction. But now, seeing that Fang Yuan was using it so proficiently, it was clear that he had already practiced it many times. Before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan already had this killer move. But he still used Dang Hun Luo Pa Seal to make an excuse for Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and the rest. Seeing that the door of life and death could not trap Fang Yuan, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable let out a soft sigh. At the next moment, the door of life and death opened, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable flew out immediately. He was still in an agitated state, his mind was not clear. He did not attack Star Constellation Immortal Venerable but furiously targeted Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Fang Yuan. Using this chance, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to snatch the truthful floating ice. The scene became very chaotic. Immortal Killer Move, Dang Hun Luo Pa Seal. With one attack by Fang Yuan, 1,000 of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's arms severed. After Fang Yuan became venerable and passed the Black Fire Tribulation, his Dao marks had already exceeded Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan roared and made a push, eventually taking that final truthful floating ice for himself. Star constellation, I've already done my best. From within Spectral Soul's belly, verdant Great Sun's voice could be heard sighing. Next, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's expression changed, becoming blank. His roaring and emotions of hatred vanished. He ignored Fang Yuan and Giant Sun as he charged towards the hole expressionlessly. Bam! With a loud sound, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had actually used his own body to block the whole of the world boundary. The immortals were shocked. The entire scene became silent again. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2213, Chu Du vs. He Lulan. Chapter 2213, Chu Du vs. He Lulan. This was a nameless grassland. The ground was dry and desolate. There was barely any vegetation except yellowish wilting wild grass. The sky was gray and hazy, no sunlight could be seen. A cold and dark wind blew on the faces of the immortals. At this ordinary location, tens of Gu immortals were gathered. All of their attention was placed on two people. The male immortal wore a yellowish-brown leather robe unique to Northern Plains. He had a red and thick leather belt, as well as pitch-black leather shoes. The loose robe could not conceal his muscular body. While his face was nothing extraordinary, he looked very plain. But nobody present could ignore him despite that. Because his name was Chu Du, the Domination Immortal. And opposing him, there was a female immortal. The female immortal wore a half-mask covering her nose, mouth and cheeks, only revealing the upper half of her face, which showed her strong contours, sharp and long brows, bright eyes and a bold aura. She was Fairy Black Moon, a powerful expert who challenged countless people and had never suffered a loss since her rise in Northern Plains' Gu immortal world. As for her true identity as He Lulan, few Gu immortals knew. Not long ago, He Lulan defeated one of the most prominent members of Lu tribe, rank 7 Gu immortal expert Lu Chang. She challenged Chu Du thereafter. Chu Du did not back down, he directly agreed. Once news of this battle was spread, the tension of Northern Plains Gu immortals rose. They paid huge attention to it. Right now, the time for the two immortals' fight had arrived. Chu Du, you have finally arrived. Battle intent surged in He Lulan's eyes, blazing like flames. The contest of strength path, I have been looking forward to this. Chu Du replied happily. Regardless of the outcome today, Fairy, I would like to invite you to my Chu tribe as a guest. We can exchange our experiences in cultivating strength path. He Lulan snorted coldly. Chu Du, I've heard of your great name since long ago. But if you want to exchange pointers, we will have to see if you are qualified. Chu Du smiled. Please have the first move. He Lulan did not stand on ceremony. Her body flew out like lightning, rising up and flying towards the upper clouds. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Waves of human figures descended from the clouds, crashing towards Chu Du like meteors. Chu Du raised his head and immediately retreated upon seeing this. He was very fast. After pulling some distance, he used his killer move as he pushed with both palms. Boom! A surge of great strength burst out, air currents were generated. He Lulan's strength path phantoms shattered like bursting bubbles against this powerful attack. Chu Du pushed with his palms again, clearing out the dark clouds in the sky, exposing the clear skies and radiant sunlight. He Lulan, who had hidden herself in the cloud layer, was also exposed as a result. He Lulan had a serious expression. After the concealment of the dark clouds, her killer move was already prepared. At the next moment, her hands clenched into fists, raising them above her head before slamming them down towards Chu Du's direction. With a thunderous sound, air was squeezed and distorted as the fist shadows instantly arrived in front of Chu Du. Chu Du raised both arms, blocking the attack. Bam! There was a loud collision as he was forced back by 100 steps. But soon, he stopped in the air, shrugging his shoulders. A layer of dust fell from his sleeves. He was completely unharmed. He Lulan was not surprised at all. She continued to rain down a flurry of unceasing attacks. Chu Du blocked her attacks time and time again while retaliating in response. Both sides were separated by some distance, they attacked with long-ranged methods that caused incredible commotions. The observing immortals were all staring at the two of them with fixed gazes. So exciting, to think that Strength Path Gu immortals would have so many outstanding long-ranged methods. Currently, it seems that Fairy Black Moon and Chu Du are evenly matched. Humph, now is too early to make that conclusion, Cho Lao Wu snorted coldly. Strength Path Gu immortals are strongest at close combat, they are still using long-ranged methods to probe each other now. Chu Du was firm as a mountain while He Lulan displayed many outstanding long-ranged methods. After more than 10 rounds of combat, the two sides suddenly charged and clashed in the center. With that loud sound, all of the immortals jolted. They are fighting seriously now. This is an extremely rare contest of Strength Path. Whoever wins this will be the #1 Strength Path cultivator in the current world. In the current 5 regions, there were very few Strength Path Gu immortals. After all, Strength Path had been declining for a long time, far beyond half a century worth of degradation. Before He Lulan appeared, Chu Du was publicly recognized as a Strength Path expert in the 5 regions, he had quite the reputation. With the sudden appearance of He Lulan, most Gu immortals were shocked by her path. To think that another anomaly would arise in Strength Path. Under everyone's gaze, the two continued to rain down punches and kicks at each other, it was an intense fight. Attacks and defenses were unleashed and put up continually, each move had an incredible amount of strength in them. Be they Chu Du or He Lulan, neither had the intention to retreat, they fought strength with strength, ferocity with ferocity. The battle between Strength Path Gu immortals could be said to be plain and simple, it was not as glamorous as other paths. But in the hearts of many Gu immortals present, a chill started to form. Even though Strength Path is declining, Strength Path Gu immortals are not to be underestimated. If I had to fight against either Chu Du or Fairy Black Moon, the outcome would be disastrous. Each attack by Chu Du or He Lulan would cause a thunderous sound that twisted and distorted the air currents surged as wind continued to form from their impacts. Compared to long-ranged methods, Strength Path excelled more at close combat. A Gu immortal with superb cultivation in Strength Path would be threatening in their every punch and kick. Their advantage in close combat was regarding the aspect of attack frequency. He Lulan and Chu Du fought quicker and quicker, the observing Gu immortals tried to imagine themselves as either party and felt cold sweat pouring down their foreheads. In the future, if I meet any Strength Path Gu immortal, I must not let them get close to me. The punches and kicks are unleashed too frequently, there is no time to prepare killer moves in such a fight. Without killer moves, how can anyone defend against such intense attacks? More than 10 rounds passed again. Chu Du gradually gained the upper hand. Even though He Lulan was strong and had many methods, her combat experience still paled in comparison to Chu Du. Her cultivation time was far less than Chu Du. Chu Du accumulated his advantage through his immensely rich combat experience. After adding up all these advantages, he started to suppress He Lulan. Chen Cheng, Yin Wu Kei, and the rest had grim expressions. This cannot go on, I need to take a risk. He Lulan's gaze turned sharp as a blade, flashing for an instant. She knew that if she did not change her fighting style now, if this went on, she would definitely lose. At the next moment, He Lulan shouted loudly as she rained punches and kicks on Chu Du with rapid intensity. Chu Du was like a reef by the sea, no matter how intense the waves were, he remained motionless. He Lulan was not surprised, while Chu Du defended himself, she quickly moved back and started preparing her killer move. Chu Du smiled as he quickly approached her. Oh no! Chen Qing saw this and gasped aloud. The observing Gu immortals saw this and knew that Chu Du had waited for this opportunity for some time. Chu Du erupted with shocking speed, rapidly getting closer to He Lulan. He Lulan had no choice but to helplessly stop her killer move activation, she fought against Chu Du with punches and kicks, blocking the other party's unceasing attacks. But because of this, by stopping her killer move midway, the activation failure caused a backlash that caused severe internal injuries to He Lulan. Chu Du created a battle opportunity, he made great use of it and fought against He Lulan until she could only defend herself. Chu Du had the complete advantage now. A wave of cheers erupted. These voices came from Chu Du's godchildren as well as the supreme elders of Chu tribe. Humph, don't rejoice too early. Fairy Black Moon has not used her trump card yet. He Lulan's supporters had grim expressions, they rebuked. Totem Killer Move, Dark Capital Strength Biao, 1. At the next moment, He Lulan's body shook. A tiger roared, its huge black claws sent Chu Du flying. The giant black tiger flapped its wings and vanished on the spot, appearing behind Chu Du. Chu Du quickly defended himself, even though he blocked the Dark Capital Strength Biao's attack again, his body was still sent flying like a cannonball, crashing towards the ground from the force created. It's here. Fairy Black Moon's signature method, Dark Capital Strength Biao. Someone shouted in excitement. Cho Lao Wu had a cold expression, this was the first time he saw it, this totem killer move is too convenient. It can stay dormant on the skin during normal times and be activated with a single thought when needed. Indeed. Haojin gritted his teeth, if not for this move, our first Supreme Elder would have obtained victory already. 1. Tiger with Wings. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:14, You have won this battle. Chapter 22:14, You have won this battle. The Dark Capital Strength Biao was incredibly fast, it was hard to deal with in the first place. More importantly, after He Lulan stabilized her position, she quickly used a healing method on herself before joining the fight again. She had great coordination with the Dark Capital Strength Biao, they attacked from the left and right, firmly suppressing Chu Du. Chu Du was in a pitiful state, many areas of his robe were torn, showing that his defenses were no longer holding up. Blood soon appeared on his lips, his injuries were slowly accumulating. Chu tribe's Gu immortals had grim expression, in the current situation, they could not see hope of Chu Du turning this around. The Dark Capital Strength Biao gave He Lulan too great of an advantage. You will lose. He Lulan shouted with momentum, unleashing her killer move, 8-directional strength fight. Chu Du was surrounded by countless figures, he could not break out for the time being. Suddenly, a shadow casted down from above him, it was the Dark Capital Strength Biao. It opened its mouth to bite at Chu Du. If this bite connected, Chu Du would be heavily injured, if not dead. At the moment of crisis, Chu Du laughed loudly instead, finally caught you. At the next moment, Strength Path Giant Hand appeared and grabbed forcefully. The Dark Capital Strength Biao was caught unguarded and growled loudly, it wanted to struggle. But after only one breath of time, the Strength Path Giant Hand firmly held onto it and slammed it to the ground. Boom! There was a loud sound as the ground shook, rocks were sent flying and dust clouds rose. Immortal Killer Move, Battle Strength Transpiration. Chu Du suddenly erupted with an intense aura as his body expanded to the size of a 10-meter giant. His entire body turned red, all of the pores on his body opened up, as his sweat turned into steam, surrounding his body. Immortal Killer Move, Heaven and Earth Combined Strength. Chu Du straightened both arms before clapping them together in front of his chest. At the next moment, the immortals gasped, He Lulan's expression changed. The surrounding 1,000 li were enveloped by a formless force, the Gu immortals were restrained and unable to move easily, they felt like bugs that had fallen into oil. Affected by this killer move, the speed of the Dark Capital Strength Biao fell drastically, its threat towards Chu Du also plunged to rock bottom. This is a quasi-battlefield killer move. He Lulan gritted her teeth, Chu Du's move was amazing and beyond her expectations. I did not want to use this. He Lulan snorted internally, activating the Expend Strength Immortal Gu in her immortal aperture. This rank 7 immortal Gu was lent to her by Longevity Heaven secretly. Other than that, there was also a killer move that used expend strength immortal Gu as the core. It was called 70% expended strength. At the crucial moment, He Lu Lan immediately activated this move. This move's preparation had no aura and was stealthy. Only when it was used, it unleashed an overwhelmingly extraordinary burst of aura. Chu Du quickly tried to dodge, but he did not succeed. After getting hit by this move, every action or killer move of his took much more effort to complete, by at least more than 50%. While Chu Du's condition fell, He Lu Lan unleashed a flurry of attacks again. The battle was in a heated stage, both sides were stuck in a deadlock. The observing immortals retreated at once. They left the range of heaven and earth combined strength, becoming more at ease as they continued to watch the battle. Regardless of this battle's result, these two are peak characters among Northern Plains rank 7 experts. Such terrifying battle strength, I'm afraid they might be able to challenge rank 8 Gu immortals as well. Chu Du, Black Moon, they are the support pillars of strength path in the current world, undoubtedly. The Gu immortals sighed to themselves. At this point in the battle, be they Chu Du or He Lu Lan, they had earned the respect and recognition of everyone. Such evenly matched opponents made the immortals even more excited to see the eventual winner. Awesome, this is really great. Chu Du had many bone fractures and his robe was dyed red, but he laughed heartily and expressed his excitement towards this battle. He Lu Lan gritted her teeth and did not speak. She had gotten into a disadvantage once again. The reason was still the difference in combat experience. Chu Du was superior to He Lu Lan in every tiny detail. As they accumulated, they eventually affected the entire battle. He Lu Lan tried all ways to regain her footing, but the more she fought, the more tiny weaknesses she exposed, giving Chu Du even more opportunities to take advantage of. He was clearly hit by my 70% expended strength. How can he still have such stamina? Seeing that Chu Du was not getting tired, He Lu Lan could not help but feel a bit shocked. Chu Du had outstanding strength. Even though He Lu Lan was using her full strength, she could not take down Chu Du. Currently, she could only hope that the effect of 70% expended strength would tire Chu Du out. But another 10 or so rounds passed. Before Chu Du even got tired, He Lu Lan was already completely at a disadvantage. The situation was dangerous. He Lu Lan gritted her teeth secretly. She was not willing to fail. In this situation, she could only take a risk and try. At the next moment, the dark capital strength Biao growled and jumped towards He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan advanced instead of moving aside, entering the dark capital strength Biao's body in mid-air. With a flash of dark light, the dark capital strength Biao shrank in size, turning into a half-beast half-man form. It became a layer of armor on He Lu Lan's body. It seemed like smoke or an illusion. This was a higher level use of a totem killer move. When the Gu immortal combined with the totem, their battle strength would surge immensely. Chu Du, time to go down. He Lu Lan shouted. The Biao wings flapped. She instantly arrived before Chu Du. Chu Du raised his arms. He Lu Lan's iron fists landed on his arms. The huge force erupted like resounding thunder. The surrounding air was forced aside as Chu Du flew out uncontrollably towards the ground. But Chu Du landed with both feet on the ground, creating a huge and long trench behind him. While he was still retreating, He Lu Lan suddenly appeared above him. Boom! There was another attack as He Lu Lan sent Chu Du flying to the ground again. Bam bam bam! He Lu Lan floated in the air, raining down fist shadows incessantly. The ground shook as smoke appeared. Her terrifying strength caused the spectators to turn pale. Lord Chu Du! Godfather! Chu tribe's Gu immortals shouted loudly in worry. He Lu Lan was too powerful now. She was almost dominating the scene. Chu Du had no way of retaliating. Enough, stop now, Black Moon. From the pit, Chu Du's voice could be heard as he spoke with difficulty. But He Lu Lan did not listen to him. She continued to punch endlessly. Is Chu Du admitting defeat? Wu Guang was excited as he spoke. Something is not right. Master seems to be in a weird state. Chen Cheng's expression changed. Hearing this, everyone realized that He Lu Lan's gaze was like a wild beast. She seemed to have lost her reasoning. She could only control this killer move through her instincts to slaughter. Chu tribe's Gu immortals were all happy now. There is still hope. Great. As long as First Supreme Elder gets through this, he will win. This killer move is too powerful. If Fairy Black Moon's killer move activation fails, she might face a backlash and even lose her life. But right at this moment, a figure flew out. It was Chu Du. But what Chu Du did next was out of everyone's expectations. He had forcefully endured the rampaging attacks, disregarding his own life to approach He Lu Lan and place his arm on her shoulder. A huge vibration force was emitted. He Lu Lan and the dark capital strength Biao were separated. He Lu Lan regained her senses and her pupils shrank immediately. She was shocked to find out that her left fist had penetrated the right side of Chu Du's chest. But Chu Du used a method to save her and prevent her from suffering the immense backlash from her killer move. Why? At once, He Lu Lan fell into deep confusion and disbelief. But right at this moment, the dark capital strength Biao's ferocity did not lower. It appeared behind Chu Du and bit harshly. Stop! He Lu Lan shouted internally and willed to try to stop the dark capital strength Biao. In this situation, if Chu Du was hit by it, he would definitely die. But the dark capital strength Biao was not under He Lu Lan's control. It was incredibly fierce. Right when He Lu Lan thought Chu Du was about to die, a surge of aura burst out of Chu Du's body. His killer move was unleashed. The dark capital strength Biao was sent flying from one attack. The immortals were shocked. Rank 8 cultivation level. Chu Du became a rank 8 Gu immortal. Our first Supreme Elder is rank 8. When did he advance? He Lu Lan stared with wide eyes and looked fixedly at Chu Du. Why? While speaking, she retracted her left hand from Chu Du's chest and placed it on his shoulder. A killer move was activated by He Lu Lan. It was not an offensive killer move but a healing method instead. Chu Du's expression was pale. He accepted her good intentions as he smiled. Ever since you started challenging people, I started noticing you, Fairy Black Moon. Do you know? Even if you did not challenge me, I would issue you a challenge as well. To have a fair battle. Because, Strength Path has been silent for far too long. Your emergence made me really happy. Continue on this path, Black Moon. Revitalize Strength Path and let it shine gloriously again. Chu Du expressed his aspirations. Looking at his dazzling eyes, He Lu Lan was silent. The dark capital strength Biao had returned after being repelled by Chu Du. But now, He Lu Lan regained control of it. The dark capital strength Biao was heavily damaged. It went back onto He Lu Lan's skin. He Lu Lan looked at Chu Du deeply before leaving. Before departing, she said, Chu Du, you have won this battle. This battle that caused a commotion in Northern Plains Gu Immortal ended in Chu Du's victory, but the exact outcome of this fight was far beyond everyone's expectations. Once Chu Du displayed rank 8 cultivation level, he became a higher-up in the Gu Immortal world, be they himself or Chu tribe, their reputation soared. And in that intense battle, Chu Du first sealed his own cultivation level to fight against Fairy Black Moon as a rank 7. He then disregarded his own life to save her. Such actions caused the neutral Gu Immortals to gain good feelings towards him. Even those who supported Fairy Black Moon like Yin Wu Kei, Chen Cheng, and Wu Guang secretly felt admiration towards him. After returning to Chu tribe, his godchildren suggested to hold a celebratory banquet and invite the immortals, to make use of this result and elevate Chu tribe's status. But Chu Du rejected it without second thought. He was very low profile regarding the result of this battle. However, news that he became a rank 8 Gu immortal still caused a huge commotion in Northern Plains' current situation. Days later, Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven let out even more surprising news that shook the world. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had revived successfully. while Gu Fang Yuan had become a refinement path demon venerable. The world was in an uproar, all the immortals were shocked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:15, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. Chapter 22:15, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. Fang Yuan returned to Eastern Sea. Under the setting sun, the surface of the sea was dyed red. Birds were chirping out loud, a warm sea breeze was blowing. This place was some distance away from Eastern Sea's Xia clan, it was not considered close. This place will do. Fang Yuan quickly descended, landing on a relatively small deserted island. Several investigative killer moves were activated. Fang Yuan had complete control over the island, he did not detect any threats or suspicious matters. Fang Yuan directly took out the 5 regional limit formation. Soon, 5 colored smoke mixed together and enveloped the island, before spreading towards the sky and sea. If he were still rank 8, after escaping from Crazed Demon Cave, he would choose the headquarters of Eastern Sea's Xia clan, or go to immemorial White Heaven in secret and hide himself to recuperate. But Fang Yuan had rank 9 cultivation level now, he was a venerable, he could do things openly without fear. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable or Giant Sun Immortal Venerable came to attack him now, Fang Yuan would be happy to see that happen. Fang Yuan slowly shut his eyes as his divine sense peered into the sovereign immortal aperture. He had already accumulated several beads of rank 9 immortal essence. Rank 8 immortal essence was known as White Lychee Immortal Essence, rank 9 immortal essence was slightly larger and looked like an apricot, it was orange-yellow in color. It was Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. Fang Yuan was familiar with the appearance of rank 9 Immortal Essence since long ago, because he had obtained Giant Sun's Immortal Essence as well as Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's remaining Immortal Essence. But now, he felt some surging emotions internally. After all, this was his personal Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. Using the Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence, Fang Yuan activated a method. Refinement Path Killer Move, Refine Self. A pale yellow light that was the size of a fist flowed out from the area near Fang Yuan's stomach. The yellow light flowed slowly around his entire body. The emphasis was on Fang Yuan's injuries. Fang Yuan had over 100 injuries, most of them were only dealt with superficially while he was on the way back. Even now, many of the wounds were still bleeding and covered in golden light or starlight specks, they were lingering on his bones, or his mashed-up flesh. As the pale yellow light appeared, all of the starlight and golden aurora was cleansed. This meant that the Tao marks that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable left on Fang Yuan's body were all refined by him. But the process of refinement was not comfortable, an intense pain could be felt. Fang Yuan's body was shivering, his expression turned pale, soon, sweat covered his forehead. Eventually, the pale yellow light lingered on the area of Fang Yuan's detached arm. After an hour, the light faded away. Fang Yuan let out a breath of air, he finally relaxed. After resting for a moment, he immediately used a compound killer move, Man as before. At the next moment, his injuries were fully healed, his arm was also fully restored. But when Fang Yuan exerted strength using that arm, he still felt a sense of weakness from it. But this was already satisfactory to him. Fang Yuan had severe injuries, but Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were also no better. He was almost certain that their efficiency at healing injuries was lower than him. Because Fang Yuan had the killer move Refine Self, this killer move could refine all of the Tao marks on the Gu cultivator's body into their own. The origin of this move was the killer move that Fang Yuan once used, Self-Cleansing. Using this, in the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan refined all of the Tao marks of the Flying Star killer move, countering Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's consecutive move. His physical injuries were healed, while his soul was at its peak condition. Fang Yuan started to resolve the matter of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture had a tribulation earlier because of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's killer move. At almost the same time, because of Fang Yuan's secret manipulation, he challenged the heavenly Tao and endured the chaotic disaster. The entire sovereign immortal aperture suffered huge losses. Its foundation had fallen. Compared to before the crazed demon cave expedition, it had about 20% remaining. It was simply in tatters. This was a pitiful sight. But I predicted that this would happen before the battle in crazed demon cave. I prepared for it. Fang Yuan focused his mind, thoughts were expended, he activated another compound killer move, landscape as before. The year essence pools and the sub-pools in various areas of the sovereign immortal aperture all opened their dams now. The accumulated water of the river of time formed into a vast silhouette under the effect of landscape as before, sweeping through the mini-5 regions as well as all the mini-9 heavens. The silhouette of the water of the river of time soon receded entirely, but what remained were various resource points of mountains and rivers that were completely restored. The Gu immortals in the sovereign immortal aperture saw this sight and cheered loudly, their morale surged. Fang Yuan lightly let out a breath of air. Back then, when he created the year essence subpools and created time path areas, he had already prepared to use landscape as before for such a purpose. After using this method, the water of the river of time in the year essence pools was almost used up. The sovereign immortal aperture's time difference with the outside world also fell greatly. A considerable amount of time was needed, until the year essence pools could gather enough water of the river of time to accelerate the sovereign immortal aperture's time again. At this point, 40% of the sovereign immortal aperture's foundation had just been restored. Which meant that the sovereign immortal aperture only had 40% in total of losses remaining. This greatly reduced the time, energy, and resources needed to reconstruct his foundation. The 40% of losses were created by the chaotic disaster. Even landscape as before was not useful for this. The Gu immortals that died from the chaotic disaster were also not able to revive through human sea. He had a lot of other losses as well. The immortal essence expenditure was huge. He once had a vast amount of rank 8 immortal essence, but now, he had about 10% left. It was way below the safety margin. He was in a dangerous state. This was also why Fang Yuan stopped and did not continue fighting against Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. But the good news was, as a Venerable, Fang Yuan produced Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence. It was much more useful than White Lychee Immortal Essence. The bad news was, rank 8 Immortal Gu Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus that once helped Fang Yuan greatly in terms of immortal essence storage became much less useful now. At the same time, because the sovereign immortal aperture's time slowed greatly, Fang Yuan's immortal essence production speed was not high. During this period of time, Fang Yuan needed to rest and manage his immortal essence. He also had to refine the natural Tao marks of the outside world. He would need a lot of immortal essence. The lack of immortal essence is huge, while immortal essence stones are barely useful to me anymore. If I ignore everything and raise the sovereign immortal aperture's rate of time to the limit, that will not work either. Fang Yuan frowned slightly. Venerables faced a grand tribulation every 10 years, a myriad tribulation every 50 years, and a chaotic disaster every 100 years. Unless they were Dream Path, Pill Path and so on, grand tribulations and myriad tribulations were no threat to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was only wary about the chaotic disasters every 100 years. Even though he had already gone through one chaotic disaster in Crazed Demon Cave. That was only the Heavenly Tao blockade. It was far weaker than the chaotic disasters that would occur every 100 years. If the sovereign immortal aperture's time was too fast, Fang Yuan would quickly have to face the chaotic disaster. If he got heavily injured in the process, or even near the point of death, the other venerables would take advantage of the chance. The replenishment of immortal essence was a problem. Other than this, Fang Yuan also lost a large number of immortal Gu. In the first parts of the Crazed Demon Cave fight, after Gu immortals died, Fang Yuan did not retrieve their immortal Gu or immortal apertures. In fact, the 7 immortal Gu houses that Fang Yuan took out in Crazed Demon Cave, including Rising Cloud City, were all lost as well. Fang Yuan's losses were so severe that no super force in the world barring Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven could afford to endure them. Thankfully, in the later parts of the Crazed Demon Cave fight, Fang Yuan purposely reduced his losses in this aspect. For example, when Zhan Budu died, the will that he left behind sent many of his precious transformation path Immortal Gu into Treasure Yellow Heaven. Other than Immortal Gu and Immortal Essence, many Gu Immortals died as well. Steel Rush Warrior, Frost Butterfly Warrior, Xiaohe Jian, Ice Crystal Immortal Monarch, and even Fang Yuan's clone Zhan Budu, they had all died in Crazed Demon Cave. There were also those who died in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture when they defended against the tribulations. Most of them were revived through human sea, they had to recultivate to become immortal again. There was also a group of them who could not be revived. Among them was the old Combat Beast King, a rank 8 Gu Immortal. Even Fang Yuan felt that it was a pity. This old man had worked laboriously without complaint, he made great contributions towards the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. But he was killed by the Black Fire, Fang Yuan could not revive him. Other than these material losses, Fang Yuan also had some hidden losses. Most importantly, he exposed too many killer moves. In the Crazed Demon Cave battle, Fang Yuan had no choice but to expose many of his compound killer moves, as well as trump cards like Refined Self, Totem killer moves, and others. For a long time, these killer moves could not be used, they needed to be modified. When he fights against the Venerables in the future, if he were to use these killer moves without modification, Fang Yuan would be taking a huge risk. But compared to his losses, Fang Yuan's gains were much higher. In the Crazed Demon Cave battle, Fang Yuan had immense gains, he was undeniably the biggest winner out of everyone. Firstly, Fang Yuan ransacked the first 7 layers and obtained a vast amount of chaotic Dao Mark immortal materials. In the 8th layer of Crazed Demon Cave, he used Thieves' Den to gain a vast amount of rank 9 immortal materials. These rank 9 immortal materials were enough for him to try to refine a rank 9 immortal Gu. The second thing was Primordial Domain. Fang Yuan had about the same amount of the Primordial Domain as Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, which was slightly less than Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Primordial Domain was extremely valuable, especially for Fang Yuan. The third thing was Paradise Earth's Northern Plains True Inheritance, as well as his Heaven Path cultivation experiences. These included the method to digest truthful floating ice and raise one's own Heaven Path cultivation level. The fourth was Information. After the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan gained an in-depth understanding of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, as well as the Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven that they belonged to. He was no longer kept in the dark like before. Star Constellation Immortal Venerables and Giant Sun Immortal Venerables methods, their combat systems, as well as Heavenly Court's Door of Life and Death Immortal Graveyard, Transient White Cloud City Suppression Painting Path Formation, One Dan's Pill Path, Longevity Heaven's 8 Extremities Formation, Calamity Luck Altars Luck Changing Golden Light Path, and others. The fifth gain was also Fang Yuan's greatest gain. His cultivation level rose to become Venerable level. This was a peak qualitative change. From now onwards, he went from a chess piece to a player, he could openly plot against the world and rule over the 5 regions. The history of humanity and variant humans would have no choice but to remember his name. At this point, he stood on the same plane as the 10 predecessors, he was like a sun that shone throughout the ages. All other Gu immortals, regardless of their heroism or talent, were mere stars in the sky. Guyu Fang Yuan. The 11th Venerable of the Gu cultivator world. A demonic cultivator who became venerable through refinement path. According to Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, his title was Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:16, Crying because of Fang Yuan. Chapter 22:16, Crying because of Fang Yuan. Eastern Sea. Shen Clan Headquarters, Purple Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. An elderly Gu immortal stood in front of a stone door as he waited patiently. The elderly Gu immortal radiated rank 8 aura, he was the current first supreme elder of Shen Clan, holding high authority, Shen Songsheng. Rumble. As the door of the secret room was opened, 2 Gu immortals walked out from within. The person in front wore a gray robe and had shoulder-length black and white hair. It was Xianxia. As a cultivator of human path, the stay in Divine Emperor City was his fortuitous encounter. After leaving Divine Emperor City, the black fire injury in his immortal aperture was completely healed, his battle strength surged to pseudo-venerable level. Xianxia walked out of the stone door and stayed at the side, smiling at the Gu immortal behind him. Please come in. This Gu immortal wore a gray hemp garment. It was very simple and plain, but his muscular body could not be concealed. He wore a conical hat that could not hide his pale face and weakened state. It was Lu Weiyin, who had survived the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Lu Weiyin bowed slightly and said, Senior Shen's human path methods are extraordinary. 30% of my injuries have healed already. I can only repay this debt in the future. Xianxia laughed heartily. No need to worry about it, don't call me senior either. We fought together in Crazed Demon Cave, having close cooperation. With our friendship, you can just treat me as an equal. Xianxia laughed as well. Seniors, the banquet has been prepared, please come with me. Before Lu Weiyin gave any modest reply, Xianxia laughed and grabbed his arm, bringing him to the banquet enthusiastically. The banquet was held outdoors in the open, at the peak of Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. There were 3 people in the pavilion. Xianxia sat at the main seat, Lu Weiyin sat beside him as the guest, while Xianxia sat at the end respectfully. There was no need to comment about the beautiful and delicious food and wine on the table. Lu Weiyin only took a small bite before he gazed afar. He saw that the sea was calm as a mirror, having no waves at all. The setting sun was radiating brightly, and the evening clouds were like blazing flames. Such a beautiful sight. Lu Weiyin praised. At this moment, the countless birds and sparrows chirped on the island. Countless purple rosewood branches shook with the cries of the birds, emitting beautiful sounds. At once, the blend of sounds created a medley that spread far and wide, towards the sea and sky that stretched to the horizon. Lu Weiyin could not help but show an expression of indulgence. He shut his eyes to savor the moment. After a long while, he opened his eyes and let out a breath of air. I've heard of the reputation of Eastern Sea Shan Clan's Rosewood Myriad Sparrow Island. After seeing it today, it truly lives up to that reputation. After surviving Crazed Demon Cave and seeing this beautiful sight, my heart has calmed down. Sigh, it is great to be alive. Lu Weiyin's strength was at the peak of rank 8, aside from his defense, which was firmly at pseudo-venerable level. However, the battle in Crazed Demon Cave made him feel extremely weak. There were many crises and trials that caused Lu Weiyin to be on the brink of death multiple times. Recalling these dangerous moments, Lu Weiyin still felt some lingering fear now. Xianxia showed an expression of curiosity as he inquired, if not for Heavenly Courts and Longevity Heaven's declarations, the entire 5 regions would still be kept in the dark. What exactly happened in Crazed Demon Cave? Not only did Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable revive, Gu Fang Yuan even became Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven both suffered losses. Even though they had gains too, Fang Yuan was the biggest winner. Thus, they did not describe the details of Crazed Demon Cave to the rest of the world. With this huge commotion, after the initial shock of the Gu Immortals, they started to gain deep curiosity. Xianxia was no exception. Lu Weiyin and Xianxia looked at each other before retelling the complex story of the battle in Crazed Demon Cave together. After Xianxia heard their story, he became silent. The pursuit of limitless Demon Venerable, the scheming Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, the powerful Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, the pitiful Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, and the immense restraint of Gu Fang Yuan. This battle was at a whole new level. To the extent that even Demon Immortal Qi Ju, Zhan Budu, Qi Si Ancestor, Lu Weiyin, and Xianxia were mere side characters in comparison. The price of this battle was also shocking beyond belief. Pseudo-venerables like Zhan Budu and Demon Immortal Qi Ju died. Fang Yuan lost about 50 Gu Immortal subordinates. Only half of Longevity Heaven's 8 extremities were left. And in Crazed Demon Cave, countless lifeforms including Ye Guang Feng, Bu Tian Kong, and Duan who had died. Eventually, Limitless Demon Venerable failed in pursuing eternal life, while Fang Yuan ended up as the biggest winner. Shen Songxing frowned and asked the two immortals, "There are three things I do not understand. Firstly, if I were Limitless Demon Venerable, why would I rush at that moment and take such a risk? With such strength, couldn't he have suppressed the entire world and built another formation if this crazed demon formation was not enough to achieve his goal?" Shen Shang shook his head slightly. Limitless Demon Venerable is a true Tao pursuer. After a million years of preparation and planning, how could he relent without giving it a test? Lu Wei-yin added, he could not last long in that condition either. Although he seemed to have revived, he was not a true living Gu immortal. At least, after his death, he did not have a flesh and blood body, there was no immortal aperture either. In fact, he turned back into truthful floating ice. So that's it. Shen Songxing nodded and asked again, secondly, are they really ignoring Spectral Soul Demon Venerable and letting him remain in the void of the 9th layer of Crazed Demon Cave? Lu Wei-yin pondered and said, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was first manipulated by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and experienced a surge in emotions. He almost lost his memories and only vaguely remembered Lord Paradise Earth. Afterwards, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was released from the door of life and death by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. He actually went to block the whole of the world boundary of his own accord. That was out of our expectations. He did not regain his memories and sanity like what we anticipated. There were no changes in his emotions, it was like he was completely emotionless, but he treated the world boundaries whole as the biggest threat. He used his body to block it and ignored everything else. That was truly a strange condition, as if he was a soul beast. Shen Shang said, us two discussed between ourselves regarding Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's condition, but we had no conclusion. Now it seems that even the Venerables have no answer, they can merely make guesses. After Fang Yuan gained the upper hand and snatched the final truthful floating ice, while Spectral Soul Demon Venerable focused on suppressing the world boundaries whole, the three Venerables stopped fighting. After the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, they are all severely weakened. Since the whole is handled by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, ignoring him is the best move for now. Saying so, Shen Shang looked at Lu Wei-yin and said, as for what they will do in the future and whether Spectral Soul Demon Venerable can regain his sanity, none of us can guess. Lu Wei-yin nodded, his expression turned more solemn. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had a deeply murderous nature. Without regaining his sanity, he could only stay in the 9th layer void and not escape. But if he regained his sanity, the 5 regions and 2 heavens would fall into chaos. Shen Songxing asked his final question, and thirdly, Fang Yuan's schemes to become a venerable were exposed by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. But there are still things I cannot understand. How did Fang Yuan get so many new killer moves? He had an endless number of compound killer moves, totem killer moves, and even Dang Hun Luo Pa Seal that made use of Dang Hun Mountain, Luo Pa Valley, and Reverse Flow River. I really cannot understand it. I thought Fang Yuan was always specialized in the wisdom path aspect of blocking others' deductions. His wisdom Gu was also used up in Heavenly Court, how could he still have so many killer moves? Unless he has made some important progression in wisdom path. But isn't this growth simply too big? So be it if he had Dang Hun Luo Pa Seal, but that killer move that allowed him to escape from the door of life and death used the 3 secluded domains of heaven and earth as the cores. He had nearly replicated the road of life. Lu Wei-yin and Shen Shang shook their heads, they had no idea either. The former sighed, if Fang Yuan was not so unpredictable, he would not have become the biggest winner in this contest. The latter said, regarding this, I have some guesses. The 3 immortals ate and spoke, discussing their theories. After filling their bellies, Shen Songxing took out a cup and made tea for Lu Wei-yin and Shen Shang. Lu Wei-yin took a look and became quite curious. He asked, is this your 6-sound tea? Shen Songxing smiled, it is just a small creation, allow me to embarrass myself. Lu Wei-yin had a serious expression. Shen Clan's 6-sound tea is famous in the world, to think that I am lucky enough to try it. There is a term in luck path called every cloud has a silver lining. There is also another saying, there is bound to be great fortune after surviving a huge crisis. I am really lucky today. 6 sound tea was a set of 6 teacups. These 6 cups of tea had very specific details when it came to the brewing process, temperature, cup used, sequence of drinking, and exact way to drink. Xianxia expended rank 8 immortal materials to brew the first cup of tea. It was called Autumn Wood Sound. This tea was crystal clear, it was like the sky devoid of clouds, extremely pure and intact. The moment Lu Weiyin drank it, he felt refreshed, his mind became clear, it was pure and cleansed. It was as if he had turned into a carefree flying bird, or a cool breeze, moving casually in the autumn skies, forgetting all his worries. Xianxia made the second cup of tea. It was called Cloud Flow Tea. This tea had a special texture, it was soft as cotton unlike normal tea. It melted when it entered the mouth, turning into a slightly cold stream of water that flowed down his throat. It was drunk in one mouthful without doubt. He made the third cup of tea. It was called River Mournful Cry. But halfway through, tears flowed down Xianxia's cheeks. He failed to brew the tea successfully. I am ashamed, I am ashamed. Xianxia quickly wiped his tears and apologized. Lu Weiyin's injuries had been treated by Xianxia. He was also hosted so enthusiastically by them. He knew that the main show was coming. He quickly asked what they wanted to hear. First Supreme Elder of Shen Clan, why are you crying? Xianxia answered, thank you for the concern, I am merely tearing up in guilt. It has been 1,000 years since my Shen Clan was established. To think that it would face the crisis of extermination during my generation, Xianxia, am truly incompetent and useless. This beautiful rosewood myriad Sparrow Island and our countless clansmen are all going to perish. Xianxia sighed deeply. Lu Weiyin asked, are you too worried about Fang Yuan? Precisely. Not long ago, information spread that this Lord Demon Venerable returned to Eastern Sea, picking a mortal island to set up his 5 restriction profound light chi that encompassed the surrounding 10,000 li. I am truly worried and fearful now. The whole of Shen Clan is worried and fearful. In fact, the entire Eastern Sea Gu immortal world is worried and fearful. Xianxia said this, a large amount of tears flowed down his face again. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:17, Delicious Wine Becomes Flavorless. Chapter 22:17, Delicious Wine Becomes Flavorless. The great Shen Clan first Supreme Elder was crying with a tearful expression now. Part of it was definitely Xianxia's inner fear towards Fang Yuan, but he had deeper goals as well. With the combined announcement of Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, such news could not be fake. Fang Yuan became heaven-refining demon venerable, while news like Qi Si ancestor being Fang Yuan's clone became known throughout the world. Before this, Eastern Sea's righteous path had been defending Qi Si ancestor as they made the righteous Qi alliance, to contest against the variant human alliance under Fang Yuan's control. It turned out that both leaders were Fang Yuan after all. It could be said that the entirety of Eastern Sea's righteous path clans were toyed around in the hands of Fang Yuan. After Xianxia found out about the truth, he felt anger and humiliation, but soon, fear and unrest followed. Shen Clan was an Eastern Sea superforce, it had huge businesses and 7 seas under its control, but how could they face Fang Yuan? Back when Fang Yuan was still a pseudo-venerable, Eastern Sea's superforces had joined together unprecedentedly and nominated Qi Si ancestor to lead them. This caused their situation to stabilize. Now that Fang Yuan was a venerable, Shen Clan and the other superforces could not escape his wrath. Because they were located in Eastern Sea, they could not move elsewhere. Even if they wanted to move, where could they go? Southern border and western desert were impossible, since the absence of a venerable meant that Fang Yuan could chase after them if he was unhappy, and they would be doomed. Other than those regions, Central Continent and Northern Plains each had their own venerable who could resist Fang Yuan. But they already had their own super forces. How could Shen Clan and the rest develop there? If they stayed in Eastern Sea, Fang Yuan would bully them, but if they went to Central Continent or Northern Plains, would Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable not suppress them? The 5 regions' chaotic war was bound to happen. If Shen Clan joined either venerable. When war broke out, they would be used as cannon fodder. Thus, Xianxia gathered the elite Gu immortals and discussed for a while. He decided that joining Fang Yuan was the best choice for them. Even though it was quite embarrassing, Fang Yuan was now a demon venerable, everyone would understand their actions. After Xianxia made up his mind to join Fang Yuan, he thought about it more deeply. Since he was going to join Fang Yuan, Xin clan had to be the first clan to do so, it would give them more advantages. If Xin clan took the lead and worked with a pseudo-venerable like Lu Weiyin, stirring other Eastern Sea righteous path forces to join Fang Yuan, they would leave a good impression on Fang Yuan. Xianxia secretly told this plan to Xianxia. After he thought about it for a while, he decided that it was possible. Thus, they had to convince Lu Weiyin first. Xianxia felt that they had a good chance of convincing Lu Weiyin. Even though he had only met Lu Weiyin shortly, they had a deep connection. Xianxia had once received Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's guidance while Lu Weiyin was his southern border inheritor. If they looked at this from the Central Continent's sect system, they were disciple brothers. Furthermore, during the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, Lu Weiyin and Xianxia had worked together without any internal conflict. After returning, Xianxia used his human path methods to heal Lu Weiyin. If he were to use only his own earth path methods, it would take a long time to recover. At once, Xianxia cried while Xianxia drank tea by the side. They were both waiting for Lu Weiyin's response. Lu Weiyin sighed internally. He had already understood that Xianxia had an unclear relationship with Fang Yuan. They had worked together during the Fate War to fight Heavenly Court. In Crazed Demon Cave, after Xianxia left Divine Emperor City, he immediately cooperated and fought against Heavenly Court as a result of Fang Yuan's words. Then what about Lu Weiyin? Where should he go? Lu Weiyin had been considering this question for a long time. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, the situation of the world changed drastically. 3 venerables were in a standoff, but there was still the possibility of other venerables reviving. Everything needed to be reconsidered. Lu Weiyin, who had pseudo-venerable battle strength, was clear of his own situation. Fighting against a venerable was courting death. But in certain situations, pseudo-venerables were still capable of influencing the victory and defeat of venerables. The battle in Crazed Demon Cave was proof of this. When Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable got into a deadlock, they first invited Fang Yuan before asking the other pseudo-venerables to join their side. These people were the crucial pieces needed to tilt victory in their favor. In Crazed Demon Cave, even after the 3 venerables stopped fighting, Fang Yuan and the other venerables did not deal with Lu Weiyin and the rest. Other than the fact that they were in poor condition and were wary of each other's actions, thus being unable to take risks, if they tried to kill the pseudo-venerables and failed, they would be forcing them to join the other sides. Thus, Lu Weiyin and the rest returned safely. Lu Weiyin pondered for a while before saying, "If Lord Paradise Earth were still around, I would definitely follow him. The reason why I helped Fang Yuan to ambush Spectral Soul during the pursuit battle was to use his strength to help Lord Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable revive. But now, he has been killed by Fang Yuan." Lu Weiyin gritted his teeth, showing anger on his face. If Paradise Earth were to be killed by either Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, Lu Weiyin might still feel better. But it was Fang Yuan who killed Paradise Earth. While Fang Yuan managed to escape from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable because of Lu Weiyin's desperate attempt to ambush him. Xianxia observed his expression and knew that Lu Weiyin's emotions were surging. He understood why Lu Weiyin felt so conflicted as well. Xianxia did not speak. He had received Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's help in the past, it was not appropriate to speak now. Xianxia had no such issue, immediately urging, "In my opinion, Lord Lu Weiyin, you do not need to be too conflicted. Back then, you helped Fang Yuan mostly because of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's will." After pausing for a while, he added, "Furthermore, even though Fang Yuan took Lord Paradise Earth's life, that was merely the final hit. The most important culprits were Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable." Lu Weiyin sighed as he looked up. He had no choice but to nod as he said, "You are right. He smiled bitterly. The situation has changed, the world is no longer like before. Without Lord Paradise Earth, I, Lu Wei-yin, am merely a wandering vagrant. Even though Mushroom Man Paradise is still around, the Mushroom Men have all entered the Sovereign Immortal Aperture already, they are Fang Yuan's hostages. I am troubled by both choices, I cannot calm down. Xianxia, we have a deep friendship forged from battles, I wonder what your opinion on this matter is? I would like to hear your view. Xianxia coughed before saying, I will not lie to you, friend, I want to join Lord Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. The truth is, back in the Blue Dragon Whale, we had already worked with Lord Fang Yuan. Afterwards, we collaborated in both the Fate War and the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Through our multiple cooperations, Lord Fang Yuan had not let us down once. Of course, can we say that Fang Yuan is dependable? That is complete nonsense, he is still a demon venerable after all. But Shin Clan's foundation is here, if we try to move, it will be too risky. After considering the pros and cons, this is the only thing we can do. Gu immortals could not cultivate without resources. Shin Clan was huge and had many Gu immortals, they needed even more resources to maintain the cultivation of all their members, while promoting new Gu immortal seeds as well. Of course, each Gu immortal had their own immortal aperture. But just the resources inside one's immortal aperture were not enough to be self-sufficient. Otherwise, Treasure Yellow Heaven would not be this popular with everyone. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture was able to be self-sufficient, but it was unique. Even though it could be refined again, the amount of immortal materials needed, including the 10 extreme physiques, and also the tribulation during the Gu refinement, made the risks and investments too great to bear. Hearing Xianxia's words, Lu Weiyin's expression turned grim as he nodded, Brother Shen has helped me a lot, since that is your decision, then I will follow you this time. Shen Songsheng and Xianxia glanced at each other while muttering internally, sly old fox. With these words, Lu Weiyin wanted to use this decision to repay the favor of having Xianxia heal his injuries. As expected, a pseudo-venerable like Lu Weiyin was a genius among geniuses, he could not be deceived under most situations. Xianxia coughed and said, it is for the best that you have decided to do this. We can help each other out in the future as well. Shen Songxing quickly made use of this conversation, suggesting that Xianxia and Lu Weiyin should take the lead to get all the other Eastern Sea super forces to join Fang Yuan as well. Lu Weiyin predicted that this would happen, he nodded and agreed on the spot. Shen Songxing brewed his 6-sound tea again. After enjoying the tea, Xianxia brought the satisfied Lu Weiyin into their secret room again for treatment. Xianxia's and Lu Weiyin's injuries were very severe. Just one round of treatment was not enough. Even if Xianxia was using human path methods, to get rid of these venerable Dao marks on their wounds, time was needed. On the morning of the second day, Shen Songxing set off and visited the other super clans. His plan to rope them in was quite successful. These super forces were all based in Eastern Sea, they soon heard from Shen Songxing that Xianxia and Lu Weiyin were going to join Fang Yuan. With the death of Demon Immortal Qi Ju in Crazed Demon Cave, there were only 3 pseudo-venerable battle strength experts left in the world. Among the 3 of them, Xianxia and Lu Weiyin wanted to join Fang Yuan, while Qi Si Ancestor, the leader of the Righteous Qi Alliance, was Fang Yuan's Qi Path clone. This trend was simply too overpowering, the other Eastern Sea super clans soon joined in. Of course, not everyone wanted to join Fang Yuan. Xia Xian, Xia Jia, and the other Gu immortals had already decided to leave Eastern Sea and betray the Righteous Qi Alliance the moment they heard Longevity Heaven's and Heavenly Court's announcements. These Xia clan Gu immortals were truly pitiful. First, their foundation was devoured by the Variant Human Alliance, they then joined Qi Si Ancestor to try and reclaim their territory. But the result was that Qi Si Ancestor and Fang Yuan had played them entirely, killing the important Gu immortals of Xia clan like Xia Ruiji. This demon Fang Yuan killed our clansmen and devoured our foundation, this enmity is greater than heaven. Eastern Sea, we will be back one day. Let's go, Zui Xianwang is going to arrive here soon on patrol. Don't worry, in order to escape today, I specially found some rare wine for Zoe Xianwang. With his nature, he is going to be completely drunk today. Xia clan's Gu immortals conversed while secretly flying from eastern sea to central continent along the surface of the sea. Zoe Xianwang watched as they left, until they vanished into the horizon. This elderly Gu immortal sighed deeply. He had a worried expression. He had already regretted his promise to Qin Dingling. He was now Heavenly Court spy that had infiltrated the righteous Qi alliance. Heavenly Court had instructed him a day ago to purposely let these Xia clan Gu immortals go. I succeeded this time because it was an easy mission, but next time. Zoe Xianwang thought about Fang Yuan, who had venerable cultivation level, all the wine that he had become flavorless. How did he suddenly become a venerable out of nowhere? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:18, Fang Yuan as an escape route. Chapter 22:18, Fang Yuan as an escape route. A tiny bamboo stick, on which 5 cicadas were skewered, was placed above the fire grill. The bamboo stick was unusual, while the fire was also not ordinary. These 5 cicadas were all rank 5 fire path Gu worms named purple smoke cicada. Once the infusion of true essence, can emit purple smoke, obscuring a piece of heaven and earth. If in the mortal world, each purple smoke cicada would cause bloodshed among Gu masters, but here, they were just food. The person cooking the cicadas wore a white robe and had thick hair. He was sitting on a folding stool that displayed his tall and thin body. It was Northern Plains rank 8 Gu immortal Heavenly Lord Baizu. Heavenly Lord Baizu had a hobby that was well known in Northern Plains Gu immortal world. He loved to cook Gu worms and create these delicious dishes from time to time. He personally cooked these dishes. Other than for himself, he also gave them to his Baizu tribe members as a reward. Anyone who received such a reward would feel incredibly honored. This was Heavenly Lord Baizu's acknowledgement after all. At times, Heavenly Lord Baizu would also invite his Gu immortal friends as guests to enjoy his cooking. At this moment, Chu Du sat in front of Heavenly Lord Baizu. He was the single esteemed guest that was invited. Chu Du continued to chew as the number of purple smoke cicadas on the skewer fell to 1. Brother Chu, how's the taste? Heavenly Lord Baizu grilled his cicadas while smiling and asking. Chu Du smiled too. It has great flavor. To think that after grilling these purple smoke cicadas, they would actually have the flavor of chicken meat but also the sweetness of taro. It is a crunchy snack and 1 skewer is definitely not enough. Ha ha ha. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed. Everyone knows that I was a lone cultivator initially. Long ago, when I roamed Northern Plains aimlessly, I barely had enough clothes or food. One time, when I failed to capture a Gu worm, I accidentally crushed it with my foot. Half a month of effort became wasted as a result. I could not bear to leave it there. I felt angry and regretful. Thus, I cooked that Gu worm and ate it. The flavor was terrible and I had diarrhea for 7 days and nights. I almost died as a result. After that ordeal, I became more determined and ruthless. I swore that when I made it big, I would frequently eat Gu worms to take revenge. Heavenly Lord Baizu had a drifting gaze. Chu Du was solemn. Heavenly Lord Baizu had never said such words to him. He seemed to have the intention to go into a deeper conversation. Chu Du knew that this was the result of exposing his rank 8 cultivation level. They were on equal levels now. Heavenly Lord Baizu laughed again as he steered the topic back. My grilled cicadas are just a hobby. There is good flavor but no benefits at all. This is not like those super forces with deep foundations. Their famous teas and wines are passed down for generations and modified each time. Some of their better creations can even grant Dao marks after consumption. Chu Du nodded as he said analytically, ever since the Battle of Tian Mountain and the actions of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who has incredibly profound food path methods, Heavenly Court, which was his enemy, started to research food path and gained much result. The Qi tides that swept the world also caused 5 or 6 food path inheritances that I know of to be circulated. These were mostly sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven and were bought by many people, allowing them to benefit greatly. As a result, food path started to spread among people. Heavenly Lord Baizu nodded and sighed. With the destruction of fate, the unification of 5 regions, and the reign of 3 venerables, the chaotic war is about to start. This has never happened in human history. Food path originated from beast men and was purposely concealed by people even when it was spread. But with the great era now, food path cannot be hidden anymore. I wonder how many food path experts will appear in the future. Food path is becoming like this, strength path will also not stay the same. Brother Chu, I know that you are focused on promoting strength path, that is impossible during normal times, but in this great era, you have a good chance of success. Chu Du laughed involuntarily. He had fought against Fairy Black Moon earlier and risked injuries to save her. It showed his aspiration to everyone. Chu Du's eyes glimmered. Now is still too early. Currently, there are less than 5 true strength path experts in the 5 regions. Other than me and Fairy Black Moon, there is only the first supreme elder of Western Desert's Fong clan, who is the most famous one. To revitalize strength path, I need to get more Gu cultivators to choose strength path in their cultivation. I cannot change the environment of the world, but I can create more strength path experts to push this tide along. Heavenly Lord Baizu finally reached the topic he wanted. He interjected, Brother Chu, you are forgetting one strength path expert. In his early days, he mostly relied on strength path methods. And now, he is high and mighty, far beyond the realm of us ordinary people. Chu Du was stunned for a moment before realizing that Heavenly Lord Baizu was referring to Gu Yufang Yuan. Chu Du knew what Heavenly Lord Baizu's intention was in mentioning Fang Yuan. He cooperated and said solemnly, Gu Yufang Yuan was able to become a venerable, it is truly out of my expectations. Back when I first met him, I felt that this person was not simple, he could not be estimated with common sense. Afterwards, I was fortunate to fight together with him several times. I found that this person had a hardy nature, he had both brains and brawn. Anyone with such a nature would not submit to being below others. But he had a special identity, he was the single chosen person by heaven's will to rebirth. He also received the investment of many venerables in an attempt to destroy fate. In his life, he had encountered so many dangerous situations and predicaments that even throughout history, nobody could compare to it. Finally, he managed to take that final step and become one of the strongest people in the world. After my initial shock and suspicion, I analyzed this and felt that it was a natural thing. Heavenly Lord Baizu listened, he nodded, saying, you are exactly right. Next, Heavenly Lord Baizu subconsciously quietened his voice as he moved his body forward, saying to Chu Du, I wonder if Brother Chu has stayed in contact with this heaven-refining demon venerable. Chu Du did not answer openly, he asked, oh. Brother Baizu, you mean to say? Heavenly Lord Baizu shrugged and raised both palms, smiled bitterly, in the current situation, Brother Chu, why the need to ask an unnecessary question? We became acquainted from our initial conflict, even though we made our respective tribes, in this northern plains, we are ostracized constantly. In normal times, we both have rank 8 cultivation level, other than Central Continent, as long as we are alive, our forces can stay strong in any other place. But now, we are in the unprecedented Great Era. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable revived, and he has a reputation for being the most caring towards his descendants. My Baizu tribe was established by devouring He Tribe's foundation, which is a Huangjin bloodline tribe. To speak the truth, Brother Chu, I have not been able to eat or sleep well recently, I am filled with worries. Chu Du quickly consoled, no matter how protective Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is towards his descendants, you still have rank 8 cultivation level. Longevity Heaven has been trying to unify the entire Northern Plains Gu immortal world. If he kills you, he will lose the support of many people. If the current world were ruled by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable alone, we might be in danger. But with 3 venerables in power now, we have hope of surviving. Heavenly Lord Baizu still had a bitter expression, however, there are countless ways for the stronger party to deal with us. Brother Chu, ever since our tribes were created, the other Huangjin tribes have been ostracizing us. Haven't we seen enough of their methods? Giant Sun Immortal Venerable does not need to target us. When the chaos starts, he can just push our tribes to be the cannon fodder. It is a simple thing to get rid of us. Chu Du heard this and nodded lightly. Heavenly Lord Baizu had expressed his inner worry as well. Heavenly Lord Baizu wanted to contact Fang Yuan through Chu Du. He was not thinking of joining Fang Yuan immediately. After all, Fang Yuan had been given the title of Heaven Refining Demon Venerable by Longevity Heaven and Heavenly Court. Everyone in the world knew about Fang Yuan's nature, ruthlessness and cruelty was a part of it. Heavenly Lord Baizu wanted to leave an escape route for himself, so that he could use it when a crisis appeared. And the truth was, Chu Du had the same idea as him. To speak the truth, I have not contacted Fang Yuan for a very long time. Chu Du sighed and said the truth. Chu Du added, everyone knows about my relationship with Fang Yuan. It is too dangerous to contact Fang Yuan now with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's existence. If I get exposed, disaster would strike. Even though he said that, Chu Du had already made up his mind. While the three venerables were resting, he would secretly contact Fang Yuan and try to create a backup plan for his Chu tribe. The concurrent reign of three venerables shocked the world. After the shock, most of the forces and Gu immortals started to think about their own circumstances. At the same time, Fang Clan's first supreme elder, who was known as the most famous strength path expert by Chu Du, was also holding a meeting now. In the study room, Fang Clan's first supreme elder Fang Gong sat down and said with a tone of lingering fear, to think that Fang Yuan became a demon venerable. Thankfully, our clan did not reject him and made the transaction with him. Otherwise, if we offended him, we could have defended against him back then, but now, we would face his revenge. Our entire clan would get into a crisis of life and death. At the side, Fang Clan's third supreme elder, rank 7 Gu immortal, Fang Huaxing said, the truth is, our Fang clan was deceived by Fang Yuan for so long, but that is nothing big, he is someone who became venerable after all. Fang Dichang snorted coldly, showing a look of displeasure. He had deep grudges with Fang Yuan. Back then, he schemed against Fang Yuan but got killed and captured instead. Even though Fang Yuan released his soul later, that was part of the transaction that allowed him to get a vast amount of soul cores as well as Thieves' Den. Right now, Fang Dichang had another body. Even though he had rank 5 cultivation level, he was already preparing for his immortal ascension. Although his cultivation level fell, his status remained unchanged. After all, his adopted son, Fang Yun, was holding up his faction. He was still trusted by the whole of Fang clan. Even though Fang Dichang's wisdom path methods were weaker now, he still had his unique perspective. He smiled coldly and analyzed, on the surface, Fang Yuan has become a demon venerable and the current situation is unprecedented. Something like 3 venerables coexisting at the same time has never happened, but even among them, there are subtle differences. Look, Heavenly Court exposed Giant Sun Immortal Venerable of creating and cultivating blood path. They also claimed that Fang Yuan was Heaven Refining Demon Venerable. They are the most aggressive side. Longevity Heaven rebuked Heavenly Court and said that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was cultivating blood path to benefit the world. It was his great benevolence. At the same time, they also called Fang Yuan a demon venerable. Among the 3, only Fang Yuan has not spoken. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, he has been recuperating in Eastern Sea. This shows that he is the weakest among the 3 venerables. In the future, the 3 venerables will have a huge battle. I still have a chance of revenge. Our Western Desert is situated deep in Western Desert. We have a great location. When the 5 regions go to war, the boundaries of the various regions will be chaotic. We only need to lay low and develop secretly. If the 3 venerables have a winner among them, we will join that side. If the venerables die, our Fang clan has hope of becoming an overlord of Western Desert. Fang Gong and Fang Huaxing listened to his analysis and could not help but nod slightly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 22:19, No, I am Great Love Immortal Venerable. Chapter 22:19, No, I am Great Love Immortal Venerable. After that, Fang Dichang emphasized, looking at the 5 regions, Northern Plains, Central Continent, and Eastern Sea all have a venerable leader, while Southern Border has a righteous path alliance. Only our Western Desert is still divided and disunited. One can say that Western Desert is the weakest of the 5 regions. In this situation, we cannot take the lead to cause problems or show our stance. If other forces recruit us, we will try to balance ourselves and secretly join them while ensuring that our benefits are the priority. Back then, our Fang clan was attacked because we obtained Divine Emperor City. We cannot commit the same mistake again and become the target of everyone, that is too foolish. Fang Huasheng and Fang Gong nodded again. Even though Fang Dichang had lost his cultivation level, he still had his wide-ranging perspective. Southern border. Tianlan Mountain, Luo clan's headquarters. In the main hall, most of Luo clan's Gu immortals were gathered. Those that did not come personally also sent their wills instead. Luo clan's first supreme elder had rank 7 cultivation level. He looked around before speaking. In the era of 3 reigning venerables, chaos will ensue. What should Luo clan do? If you have any ideas, do say them now. Luo clan's Gu immortals looked at each other. Soon, one of them spoke. This person cultivated Space Path. He was Luo clan's #1 general, Luo Ran, who had peak rank 7 battle strength, even surpassing the first supreme elder. Luo Ran spoke. Everyone, news of the reign of 3 venerables shocked everyone. After thinking about it, I decided to look at it from another perspective. If I were either of the 3 venerables, I would first devour southern border and western desert. After all, weaklings are the easiest targets. It is not good for Eastern Sea, Central Continent, or Northern Plains if the 3 venerables fight now. The wisest decision is to strengthen myself first and take more territory and resources before fighting the other venerables. Our Luo clan is at the northern end of southern border. We are closest to Central Continent. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wants to interfere in southern border, our Luo clan would have to face her first. Luo clan's immortals nodded with a cold expression. Ever since the disappearance of the 5 regional walls, their pressure had been intensifying daily. They had to search for backup plans and escape routes for Luo clan. Luo Ran continued to speak. With the reign of 3 venerables, unless our southern border also has a venerable, even if all the southern border Gu immortals work together cooperatively, we are not the match of any of these 3 venerables. As for the other super forces who are deeper inside the region, they might still have the choice of staying out of the war, but our Luo clan is stuck between southern border and central continent. When conflict starts, we will need to stick to one side. Once he said that, all of the Luo clan immortals became stirred. One of them stood up directly and shouted angrily, Luo Ran, are you saying that our Luo clan should surrender before fighting? Are you going to ignore the righteousness of our clan throughout the generations? We, Luo clan, defend the glory of righteousness. Are you going to abandon that? Everyone turned to look. The person who said that was Luo Fei. Next, many Luo clan Gu immortals added in their comments that sided with Luo Fei. When our Luo clan had once prospered, we almost threatened Wu clan's position. How can we act so cowardly? Indeed, venerables are no doubt invincible. But in the current era, with the reign of 3 venerables, and the possibility that other venerables might revive in the future is certainly uncertain. We cannot give up now. In my opinion, none of the 3 venerables now are worth joining. Heavenly Court has the sect system. If our Luo clan joins them, we need to change our clan system. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable is most protective of his descendants. Bai Zhu tribe and Chu tribe are being ostracized by Northern Plains Huang Jin bloodline. Meanwhile, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable has a lot of enmity with our clan. If we lower our heads to him, I will look down on myself. Seeing everyone's anger and riled emotions, Luo Ran quickly waved his hand. Everyone, I did not consider it through. Luo Fei stared widely. Lord Luo Ran, you are the #1 expert of Luo clan. If even you have such thoughts, we will be too disappointed. Luo Ran had an expression of guilt. I was wrong. Luo Fei added, according to my view, the situation is not very dangerous. With the reign of 3 venerables, they are wary of each other while being restricted. They will not make a move easily. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Demon Immortal Qi Ju and people like Xiao Hejian have already died. Fang Yuan lost many powerful subordinates. Right now, his main body is recuperating in Eastern Sea without doing anything. He does not have the strength to interfere in other regions. Additionally, even though our southern border has no venerable, we have the Southern Alliance and the Alliance leader Wu Yong. During the Fate War, Lord Wu Yong led our southern border righteous path and did not disappoint us even once. Why can't we hold expectations towards him and ourselves for now?" After saying these words, Luo Fei sat down. Many Luo clan Gu immortals also nodded slightly, agreeing with her words. Luo clan thought positively about Wu clan. Because back then, Luo clan suffered a loss when exploring Chi-Ju Grotto Heaven. They were pursued and had to seek help from Wu clan to preserve their strength. After some time, Luo Zhu announced the end of the meeting. Only Luo Ran stayed behind to talk to him secretly. "Sorry you had to do this," Luo Zhu said apologetically. Luo Ran shook his head. "Joining Heavenly Court was my true intention to begin with. I was just probing them today, but it seems that Luo clan does not want to give up yet. They think that it is too cowardly. On the other hand, that information path Immortal Gu was only the idea of Immortal Crane sect. Even if our Luo clan wants to join Central Continent, we need to contact at least Heavenly Court, right?" Luo Zhu sighed. "Our Luo clan has always been an upright and righteous force. I am too useless to lead everyone. I am worried about Luo clan's safety. But you are right, now is not the time yet. We need to continue contacting Immortal Crane sect in secret." Central Continent, Immortal Crane sect. Verdant green trees grew as clear winds blew. In a pavilion near the middle of the mountain, a young Gu immortal was blowing his flute. As the sound of the flute spread, an immortal crane fluttered in the sky. The young-looking Gu immortal wore a clean white robe. His eyebrows were green and long, extending to his waist. It was the enslavement path immortal He Feng Yang. He was known as the winged crane flying immortal. "I succeeded in passing my tribulation and became rank 7. But to think that the moment I came out of seclusion, I heard the shocking story of the reign of 3 venerables. Not only did star constellation Immortal Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable revive, there is even a new heaven refining demon Venerable. Gu Yu Feng Yuan." He Feng Yang felt complex emotions. Back then, he was the one who asked Lord Sky Crane to head to southern borders Guyu village. He also dealt with Feng Yuan when trying to get Hu Immortal Blessed Land. If I made up my mind back then and took action personally, could I have killed Feng Yuan? This thought emerged in He Feng Yang's mind constantly. But soon, He Feng Yang shook his head. The chances were that he would fail. Because behind Feng Yuan, there was the contest of Heaven's will and the other venerables. Also, even if he could have killed Feng Yuan, what was the point of saying it now? Feng Yuan was already a demon venerable. While He Feng Yang had just gotten past rank 6 and advanced to rank 7. He Feng Yang felt dejected internally, but he also had other emotions like envy. He worked so hard for so many years, but he watched as a mortal like Feng Yuan rose rapidly in strength, eventually becoming a venerable. Feng Yuan had far surpassed him, he could not even see his shadow. But through this flute music, He Feng Yang slowly calmed down. Everyone has their own opportunities. Feng Yuan was able to reach this stage. Other than fortuitous encounters, he also had wisdom and courage to fight. He saw through many chaotic situations and had often gotten into dangerous situations. But I am not without hope. During peaceful times, spending resources on enslavement path is wasteful for the sect. But with the arrival of the 5 regions chaotic war, as an enslavement path cultivator, the sect will think highly of me. They will give me more attention and resources. Furthermore, I acted of my own accord and secretly sent Luo clan an information path Immortal Gu in the name of Immortal Crane sect to try to recruit them. Since Luo clan's first supreme elder has not destroyed the information path Immortal Gu yet, this shows a clear attitude. If this succeeds, it will be a huge accomplishment. I will get a lot of sect contribution points. By then, I can exchange for an immortal pill from Heavenly Court so that little 9 can become an ancient desolate beast. He Feng Yang looked at the 9 palace crane in front of him and smiled. This 9 palace crane was a desolate beast with a close relationship with He Feng Yang. Back then, it was hit by a time path Immortal Gu and regressed in age, becoming younger and younger until it became a baby. He Feng Yang tried his best to save it, paying a huge price for it to recover fully. Eastern Sea. 5-colored smoke rumbled as it contracted, eventually going back into Feng Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture. Fong Yuan sat cross-legged on the nameless island. He saw a wide area before him without any smoke left. Next, a large group of Gu immortals came towards him. When they were 1,000 steps away, they landed on the surface of the sea and kowtowed towards him, showing their subservience. These were Eastern Sea's righteous path Gu immortals. The various first supreme elders of the respective clans were among them. Of course, they were led by the pseudo-venerables, Xianxia and Lu Wei-yin. Fong Yuan was stunned for a split second before understanding the situation. He laughed. A wise man submits to circumstances. Everyone, please get up. From today onwards, I will treat you equally like my other subordinates. The immortals showed expressions of gratitude as they said together, we pay respects to Heaven Refining Demon Venerable, we are willing to give our lives to Lord Demon Venerable. But Fong Yuan shook his head slowly. At this point, I should make a declaration to the world. He connected to Treasure Yellow Heaven and started to make his declaration. What, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable? I do not accept this title. Xianxia and the rest were stunned. I am not in the demonic path, I am a righteous path member. All my past actions have been to seek blessings for all living beings in the world. I disregarded my own life and experienced countless crises to destroy fate. I granted freedom to everyone in the world. However, corrupt forces like Heavenly Court still try to suppress and slander me even now. They are trying to obstruct me. I was best friends with Lord Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. In the Battle of Crazed Demon Cave, he entrusted me with his wishes before dying. After becoming venerable, I will emulate Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. I will work for the harmony of the 5 regions. Everyone, do not believe in rumors. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was not killed by me. Star Constellation and Giant Sun cooperated to end his life. Fong Yuan spoke in a righteous tone. Xianxia and Lu Wei-yin stared at him blankly. The other Eastern Sea righteous path leaders were also listening like this was a dream. Fong Yuan suddenly raised his volume. He said in an energetic tone, everyone, I want you to remember, Gu Fong Yuan, am Great Love Immortal Venerable. From today onwards, I will create my Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. I will bring benefits to the world and peace to the 5 regions. News soon spread rapidly in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Every Gu immortal in the world heard of it. Be they Heavenly Lord Baizu and Chu Du who were currently grilling food, or the 3 higher-ups of Fong clan who were discussing secretly, or Luo clan's immortals, or He Fong Yang, they all received this shocking news. But Fong Yuan did not stop, he continued to speak. He placed a list in Treasure Yellow Heaven that contained a vast number of Gu worm names. If any Gu master or Gu immortal paid the appropriate price, he would refine Gu for them. For mortal Gu, he did not restrict quantity, while in regards to immortal Gu, he could even refine rank 8 immortal Gu for them. The 5 regions went into an uproar. This is my promise as Gu Fong Yuan, a refinement path venerable. Gu worms are the core of our cultivation, they are our foundation. But all along, they have been too rare and hard to refine, especially immortal Gu. Because of this, the first thing that I will do to benefit the world is to refine immortal Gu for everyone. Regardless of our past grudges or enmity, be it friend or foe, I will not mind it, I will refine Gu for everyone equally. This will prove the great love in my heart. I know what you are worried about. But in fact, I have already made many transactions with various forces and Gu immortals. I refined many immortal Gu for them. For example, I've transacted many times with Western Desert's Fong clan. This is all evidence. In Western Desert, Fong Gong, Fong Di Chang, and Fong Huaxing stared with wide eyes. Fong Di Chang, who had earlier emphasized that they should keep a low profile and not cause public outrage, turned pale immediately. Or for example, Southern Borders Wu clan. I have refined more than 1 rank 8 immortal Gu for Wu Yong, the evidence is here. Wu Yong. Luo clan's members. Luo Fei held her head and felt like her heart had broken. Why? Lord Wu Yong, you actually cooperated with Fong Yuan secretly, why? Or for example, Northern Plains Baizu tribe. I have many possible areas of cooperation with Heavenly Lord Baizu. We have been in close contact. Fong Yuan continued to announce. Heavenly Lord Baizu was like a stone statue. the skewer in his hand that he was roasting went up in flames. Chu Du looked at him, seemingly saying, "Brother, what is wrong with you? Since you have been in contact with Fang Yuan all along, why did you want to use my connection with him?" Fang Yuan continued to say, "Not just Northern Plains, Central Continent is involved too. For example, immortal crane Sexi Feng Yang, I have been in contact with him since my younger days, we have truly become acquainted as a result of past conflicts." Slander, this is pure slander. He Feng Yang smashed the jade flute in his hand, he shivered intensely. Finally, Fang Yuan said, "Whether you believe me or not, that is up to you. Risks exist all the time, but what if this is true? Why don't you try first? Everyone, please give me some of your trust. Since long ago, countless people have misunderstood me. Thus, allow me to prove now to the people over the world that I am truly great love immortal venerable." After Fang Yuan's declaration, winds blew on the surface of the sea. The kneeling Eastern Sea Gu immortals raised their heads and looked towards Fang Yuan in a daze. Looking at them, Fang Yuan showed a kind and sincere smile. "Everyone, please get up. You have already joined my Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, you will receive greater preferential treatment as the first batch. I guarantee you that. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 2220, Blending of Black and White. Chapter 2220, Blending of Black and White. Li Xiaobai followed several information path Gu immortals, they carefully waited in ambush. "Xiaobai, black and white heaven are fusing together now, the commotion is huge and the environment is dangerous. Later, when the hound groups fly over, you should focus on watching rather than taking action, do you understand?" A rank 7 information path Gu immortal instructed. Li Xiaobai quickly nodded, "Yes, I will listen to the seniors." He was acting obediently, without the arrogance of a great scholar. All the information path Gu immortals here had a good impression of him. Li Xiaobai had become a rank 6 long ago, he was an information path Gu immortal. Because of his talent, he was also the most favored Gu immortal junior in profound literature Grotto Heaven. These information path Gu immortals came from profound literature Grotto Heaven, they were at least second-grade officials in the Grotto Heaven's imperial court. Profound literature Grotto Heaven had a special system, Gu immortals entered the imperial court and most of them held important positions and roles. After Li Xiaobai became a Gu immortal, he also started to work for the imperial court. The only exception was old immortal Huayu. He had rank 8 cultivation level and stayed in the background, controlling the entire situation. "They're here." After a while, the Gu immortal in charge of investigation spoke. The immortals quickly displayed several killer moves, they concealed themselves even more deeply. Soon, Li Xiaobai saw a group of remnant heavenly dogs running towards them while stepping on air. These were all Space Path ancient desolate beasts, they ate Space Path Gu worms as food. A total of 368 remnant heavenly dogs, and 4 heaven-swallowing hounds. Li Xiaobai cultivated information path, he was most skilled at collecting information. After taking a glance at them, he noticed the size of this hound group. Remnant heavenly dogs were ancient desolate beasts, after they grew to an extent, they would become heaven-swallowing hounds. Heaven-swallowing hounds were immemorial desolate beasts that ate 9 heavens fragments, Grotto Heaven, and blessed lands as food. They had always been a huge threat to the 2 heavens Grotto Heavens. As the dog group continued to approach, profound literature Grotto Heaven's Gu immortals started to work together, they secretly used a killer move. This killer move had no commotion or sound, it spread out rapidly. Initially, the dog group had no change, but after more than 10 breaths of time, 3 heaven-swallowing hounds stopped and bared their fangs, looking in the same direction with expressions of vigilance. The final heaven-swallowing hound also slowed down. The 4 heaven-swallowing hounds barked at the same place for a while. Afterwards, 3 of the heaven-swallowing hounds brought most of the remnant heavenly dogs to move on another route, towards a different direction. The final heaven-swallowing hound brought more than 20 remnant heavenly dogs as they continued on their original path. The Gu immortals of profound literature Grotto Heaven had been hiding all along. After the dog group left their field of vision, they showed themselves and sighed in relief. Alright, it has been settled. Most of the hounds have been misled by us, they think that direction has sumptuous food, but there are soul beasts there instead. We have also used information path methods on those soul beasts. Once the dog group goes there, they will think that the soul beasts are hiding in immortal aperture. They will kill each other without us taking action. The remaining heaven-swallowing hound was not tricked by us, it likely has the protection of an immortal Gu. But with this number that we lured over, Lord Hua Yu has enough to work with. Xiao Bai, did you see clearly? When your cultivation level rises to rank 7 in the future, you need to complete such missions often as well. Our profound literature grotto heaven cannot move and is placed in one spot in the sky, but we need to resolve lots of problems before they even occur. Li Xiao Bai immediately answered, I will work harder. These Gu immortals immediately moved along the direction that the heaven-swallowing hound went earlier. This heaven-swallowing hound brought a few remnant heavenly dogs with it, getting ambushed midway by the battlefield killer move that old immortal Hua Yu set up in advance. After a large battle, the heaven-swallowing hound died. There was a wild immortal Gu after all, but it was destroyed in the battle. There were some remaining remnant heavenly dogs that managed to survive, they escaped along the cracks of the battlefield killer move. They were space path beasts after all, running away was their expertise. But afterwards, they met with Li Xiao Bai's group. After a few rounds of killer moves, these remnant heavenly dogs became minced corpses. Li Xiao Bai also took action, he used some immortal essence but did not play a big role. However, he showed an expression of excitement and lingering enthusiasm. The other information path Gu immortals looked at him and had a deeper impression of him being a cute young junior. Old immortal Hua Yu collected and stored the battlefield killer move as the immortals quickly greeted him. Old immortal Hua Yu nodded and looked at everyone. When he saw Li Xiao Bai, he smiled at the latter. He liked this young junior a lot and appreciated his talent. In his heart, Li Xiao Bai had a good upbringing and was the most talented Gu immortal in the last 100 years of profound literature Grotto Heaven's history. He was the future of the Grotto Heaven. Sigh. To think that Qi Si ancestor is actually a clone of heaven refining demon venerable. Fang Yuan is scheming and crafty, I was deceived by him completely. If not for heavenly court and longevity heaven exposing the truth, I would continue to be used by him. What great love immortal venerable, such words can only deceive idiots. Sigh, I cannot trust any outsider. Only these Gu immortals in front of me are trustworthy. Qi Si ancestor had once personally helped profound literature Grotto Heaven. Thus, old immortal Hua Yu respected Qi Si ancestor greatly. After joining the righteous Qi alliance, he had been following Qi Si ancestor's leadership enthusiastically. But now that Qi Si ancestor's identity was exposed, all of that respect towards him turned into rage and humiliation. Old immortal Hua Yu had surging emotions, but he kept calm on the surface and controlled the situation. While ordering the Gu immortals to clean up the battlefield of all traces, he also sent them to search the area. They were all information path Gu immortals, they soon cleared the battlefield of all noticeable traces or clues. Other than that, the investigative Gu immortals also brought back some information. The heavenly wind Qi wall of the immemorial two heavens has mostly dissipated, the fusion of the two heavens will get more severe as time passes. Not only are the two heavens beasts fighting more frequently, the Tao marks of the two heavens are also undergoing huge changes. Some are conflicting with each other while others are fusing together and creating greater effects, they cannot be separated. In fact, the heavenly wind Qi wall had started dissipating long ago. Now that the 5 regional walls were gone and Qi tide swept the world, the two heavens fusion also reached the most intense moment. This resulted in the intense commotion. All the grotto heavens that were in the two heavens were facing problems continuously throughout the period. Earlier, the dog group was a huge threat to profound literature Grotto Heaven, so it was dealt with in advance. But what worried old immortal Hua Yu and the other information path Gu immortals was not just the trouble ahead of them, but also the bigger situation of the 5 regions and 2 heavens. After Fang Yuan returned, he publicly announced himself as Great Love Immortal Venerable and set up his Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. Immediately, the 2 pseudo-venerables, Lu Wei Yin and Xianxia, brought the various super-clans of Eastern Sea's righteous path and submitted to Feng Yuan. Thus, the Righteous Qi Alliance and the Variant Human Alliance jointly entered the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. Old Immortal Huayu and the others ended up in an awkward position. Speaking of which, they were members of the Righteous Qi Alliance, as were Granny Skeleton and others. But all along, because their foundation was in the two heavens, they were vaguely ostracized by Eastern Sea's super forces. But that was nothing originally. Old Immortal Huayu, Granny Skeleton, and the rest only needed to continue getting Qi Si ancestor support. But now, with the exposure of Qi Si ancestor's identity as their greatest enemy, Feng Yuan's clone, they had all along been trying to gain Feng Yuan's favor. Old Immortal Huayu and Granny Skeleton could not help but feel stunned. Concurrently, the changes in the two heavens made them busy and tired as well. Right at this time, Feng Yuan announced himself as Great Love Immortal Venerable and made a declaration that shook the world. The 5 regions Gu immortal world went into an uproar. Ever since Gu Yu Feng Yuan started cultivating, he had been ruthless and slaughtered countless innocents. He was clearly a demonic path member. How could he change his identity so easily with just some words? If changing one's faction was so easy to achieve, what was the point of the righteous path? Old Immortal Huayu scoffed in his heart, but he was clear of the truth. Feng Yuan's declaration was a joke. But with his strength as a demon venerable, who would dare to laugh? Look at those Eastern Sea righteous path forces who submitted at the first second. Even if Longevity Heaven and Heavenly Court made fun of his words, what could they do to Feng Yuan? I cannot drag this on anymore. Feng Yuan has already taken an Eastern Sea's righteous path. Our two heavens forces cannot watch anymore. But should we join Feng Yuan, Heavenly Court, or Longevity Heaven? Profound Literature Grotto Heaven was not in the heaven of Central Continent or Northern Plains. This was the reason why Old Immortal Huayu joined the Righteous Qi Alliance earlier. Now, joining Feng Yuan was the most convenient outcome. Yet, they would not be able to preserve Profound Literature Grotto Heaven. Why? Everyone knew that Feng Yuan had the sovereign immortal aperture. The two heavens Grotto Heavens were his targets to annex. Since they could not keep their homeland anyway, what was the point of joining Feng Yuan? And honestly speaking, Old Immortal Huayu really hated demons like Feng Yuan. Old Immortal Huayu started to think more broadly. There were many options in front of him. But which choice should he pick? It was a tough question. Longevity Heaven. At the most central area, there was Calamity Luck Altar. The 4 directions of Calamity Luck Altar had the 4 desolations. And around the 4 desolations, there were 8 areas for the 8 extremities. Above the 4 desolations was golden light that radiated and enveloped the place. Above the 8 extremities was a spreading aura of green light. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already returned to Longevity Heaven for some time already. Whoosh! A soft sound echoed. The final few star path Dao marks on Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's body went ablaze. They vanished completely. My injuries are finally healed. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable let out a breath of air. Next, I need to refine the luck path Dao marks of the 5 regions and 2 heavens to regain my strength as a Dao Lord. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not use genuine Venerable level strength in combat. Because they were in the void, there were no natural Dao marks for them to refine. If there were, every action of a Venerable would be amplified and strengthened by the natural Dao marks. They would become very terrifying. This was like how Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had the amplification of countless soul path Dao marks in the door of life and death. But strictly speaking, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was not considered a true Dao Lord, because he did not have his sanity. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already refined all of the luck path Dao marks in the world back in his time. But after his death, these Dao marks went back to the control of the heavenly Dao. Thus, he had to refine them again before he could use them. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.